What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's yours truly, Wall Street Hit My Line, and I want to talk about the most famous Greek basketball player of all time, Giannis Antetokounmpo, because I saw a tweet today, which, yes, I know you're all going to say it. Why do you believe everything you see on Twitter? I don't believe everything I see on Twitter, but when I see something interesting, I like to talk about it because I like to talk. So I saw a tweet that apparently Giannis had mentioned something. I'm not sure if it was in a press conference or what have you, but was saying basically if the Bucks don't win a championship, he's at risk of being traded, which I don't know if I believe that at all, because Giannis has been with the Bucks for his entire career, and he has transformed into a just phenomenal all-time player. You know, coming from being the 15th pick in the draft, basically being a project. I believe his first year in the league, he only averaged 6 or 7 points per game, and played a decent amount of games, but didn't average that many points. Basically doubled his production in his second year, added another 4 points per game the year after that, and then eventually in his fourth year, became an all-star. So he is really, set a high standard for these, stretch draft picks that people make, especially with overseas players. And you see that impact being felt throughout the entire league, where people are now taking some more unknown overseas talent a lot higher in the draft. And in a lot of situations, it's panned out for, teams like drafting Luka Doncic, third overall. The Atlanta Hawks picked him and then eventually traded him on draft night to the Dallas Mavericks for Trae Young. But, we weren't really seeing that type of stuff before. Before Giannis, it was you might draft some guys as high picks, that are, from overseas. And it's not the fact that they're from overseas, it's just, domestic scouts in the NBA before Giannis really were not, diving that deep into scouting overseas as much as they are today. They were still doing it, but it's not as much as it was, today. But so let me get back to the premise here. So Giannis is under contract, including a player option, until 2028. He has a player option in the 2027 to 2028 season. So he's under contract for this season, the next season, and the season after that, right? And then the season after that, he's a player option. So he could be with the Bucks for an additional 4 seasons. I do not think under any circumstance that the Bucks will ever trade this guy. I really don't. Unless he makes a big issue that he needs to be traded, which I also don't think he'll do. I don't think they're ever going to trade him. That's just my personal opinion, right? So I think this claim that he thinks he's going to be traded is a bunch of baloney or whatever other deli meat you fancy. It's not true. It's bullshit. So regardless if Giannis actually feels that way, which like I said, I don't think is the case, I think he might just be putting pressure on himself and his teammates in a public manner in order to create some sort of positive tension, right? Because clearly the first year between him and Damian Lillard did not go as planned. And they had a very weird season as far as, playing very well and then firing their coach and then bringing in Doc Rivers, who did not perform as well. It was just a mess of a season. But I would blame that mess more on the whole coaching issue as opposed to the actual players. So I think if they can get that figured out, it's going to be a different story. I also think if they're going to trade anybody who has a significant amount of trade value, it's probably going to be Damian Lillard, because he hasn't publicly said that he doesn't want to be there, but he's, admitted that it's been very hard for him. He was away from his family. He's been in Portland his entire career. He's, I think Damian Lillard's at least 33 or 34. So he's in the later stages of his career. He might be just kind of passing his prime at this point, but I'll never doubt Damian Lillard. That guy is all time. He is just an incredible player and really turns it on when, he needs to, and, the team needs him the most. So I think if they're going to trade anybody, they're going to trade Dame because they won with, Giannis and Chris Middleton. And granted, they had Drew Holiday, which was a part of that Damian Lillard trade. And now you see Drew Holiday, winning championships with the Celtics. So it almost makes me think that the Bucks are better off not having a star point guard that is super, offensively talented, and they get someone like a Marcus Smart or I don't know. Marcus Smart's probably the best example. Like a defensive lockdown perimeter defender who really prides, their name on that end of the court. Maybe that's what you really need, right? But Marcus Smart didn't really work out for the Celtics either, and that's why they brought in Porzingis and Drew Holiday and really, revamped their team. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't think that this claim has any real substance. I don't think the Bucks will ever trade Giannis. And he just finished last season 4th in MVP voting. I mean, Jokic really kind of, won in a landslide, which I didn't expect. But, he was 4th in MVP voting, 9th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, averaged 30.4 points per game, 6.5 assists, 11.5 rebounds, 1.2 steals, 1.1 blocks. Like, this guy does everything. He literally does everything. And the only thing that he does not do is shoot the ball well. But at least he'll take the shot. Ben Simmons doesn't even take the shot, right? Giannis is what Ben Simmons should be aiming to be, right? Is you take the shot, you make it, great. If you miss it, whatever. You do so many other positive things on the court that if you shoot 25% from three, hell, if you shoot 20% from three, does it really matter? No, because you're really making an impact elsewhere. So, I don't know. I think before they trade Giannis, they have to consider the entire team dynamic. And you're much better off continuing to build around Giannis, even though that he's, getting older. He's not even 30 yet, I don't think. I think he's like 29. So, I don't understand where this is coming from, where he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get traded if we don't win the championship. I don't think it's happening. So you guys let me know what you think. Do you think Giannis is, kind of blowing smoke here, or is there something behind the scenes that we don't know about? Let me know. Hit my line. If you like this video, as always, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Support the channel. If you did not like the video, give it a thumbs down. Tell me how you really feel, because that's what we're about here, is talking about how we really feel. Because if I didn't talk about how I really felt, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'll catch you guys with the next one. Later.